guys, welcome to another video in Hort Americas TV. Let's get ready to level up our understanding of a very important variable in growing systems. So let's learn about temperature, starting by what is temperature. So temperature is the degree or intensity of heat present in a substance or an object. So what exactly is heat? Heat is energy that can be transferred from an object to another. So which variables are affecting plant temperature or are involved to determine plant temperature? So we can speak about radiation, sensible heat, or metabolic heat. So let's start with radiation. Radiation is the heat transferred by photons transporting energy from an object to another. There are two types of radiation important for growing systems. Solar radiation, that is also called shortwave radiation, and radiation from Earth objects, also called long-wave radiation. So let's move now to sensible heat. So sensible heat is the heat transferred by temperature difference, and there are two important definitions in here. We can speak about conduction and convection. Conduction is the heat transferred through materials. In growing systems, it's important to know heat transferred for example, glazing material. This will help you to know how quickly your greenhouse can lose heat, something that you can manipulate in high or low temperature conditions. By the other hand, convection is the heat transferred by the movement of liquid or gas. This includes fan ventilation, a very important aspect to manage in growing systems. So now let's understand metabolic heat. This is simple. Metabolic heat is the heat generated by metabolic activities in any organisms, including obviously plants. This is an important variable affecting leaf temperature. Last, we have latent heat. This is heat released by change on phase of water. For example, condensation, we know, will release heat. This is not good for our system, can trigger fungi, and we can have problems controlling temperature and humidity. Then we have evaporation, which consumes heat. If we want to reduce temperature in growing system, we need to consume heat by evaporation. This is the only process that will consume and reduce temperature inside of your system. And for doing this, you can use fogging systems or wet wells. It is obvious that all these variables are connected. And understanding how all these work, we can manage our system better. For example, if your plant is under a condition where transpiration is being reduced, this will increase sensible heat. Why? Well, latent heat will be reduced, meaning we will have less evaporation from the process of transpiration. And evaporation consumes heat. Therefore, air temperature will tend to increase. In growing systems, we usually have a large quantity of plants that together form a canopy. We can then try to understand plant temperature speaking about this big system called canopy. It works very similar than in leaf. So we have radiation from the sun and from the ground, metabolic heat from all our plants, sensible heat defined by the temperature difference between air and leaves, and latent heat regulated by plant transpiration. Transpiration, for example, can be affected by the boundary layer resistance. This is created by the friction of air on the leaf surface, and stomatal resistance, which is also affecting stomata opening and closure. These are the couple of cells that are in charge of transpiration and gas exchange. So let's pull in different environmental variables affecting temperature and the transfer of energy in our canopy. Light intensity can affect radiation, which will affect leaf temperature. Of course, we're speaking in here about solar radiation. Leaf temperature can affect transpiration rate, which can affect air temperature. Can we control light in order to have an effect in temperature? Of course, we can control radiation from the sun or at least reduce radiation with a shade cloth. Of course, in order to do this, we need first to get sure that the plant is receiving enough light. Once the plant is receiving enough light, we can take decisions in order to reduce light to improve temperature conditions inside our system. So now let's move to wind velocity. Wind can affect humidity and the boundary layer resistance. Both variables will affect transpiration rate. And transpiration can affect air temperature and also water uptake, which will affect the moisture content of the substrate and also affect nutrient uptake. Can we control wind? Or also, can we control humidity? Of course, we can control these two variables. We can use ventilation fans or exhaust fans in order to improve airflow or improve humidity levels inside of the system. Everything is connected. And the best part is that you can measure all this and control it. If you want to succeed, you must understand, measure, and take action. The more you know, the more you can manage. Do you want to learn more? There is still a lot to understand when speaking about temperature. For example, how plants respond and behave under different temperature, how these affect plant metabolism. You can learn this and more in our next short course, Variable Controls. Register before August 21st. So well guys, I hope you have learned a little bit more today. Please leave a comment and subscribe to our channel if you want to continue learning about plant production. My name is Karla Garcia, Hort America's Technical Service. You can find me also as Professor Grow on Instagram. See you on the next session.